Okay, so for today, we are going to do the last four people in the character chart. So last time I mentioned who they're going to be, but let me mention them again. So we have Howie Kemp, Danny, or the Yard Ape, Mrs. Whaley, and Bruce. So first, let's start with Howie Kemp. So the most important thing that we probably know is that he's the brother of Willa Jean, and he also goes to school with Ramona. And also, he does mention at the beginning of the story that he thinks Ramona's feet look big. So he's a very honest person. So I think that we can include something about his character, that he's really honest. He tells the truth. He just tells it as it is, right? Even if it can be a little bit offensive. Okay, let's write that. Okay, there we go. So remember, we're just taking notes here. They're just little notes. They are not full complete sentences. That's why you don't see any periods. But you do see the commas in between each of the new notes. Okay, let's move on to Danny the Yard Ape. So we do know that definitely he is mean to Ramona at the beginning of the story. But later on, he actually becomes kind of sweet to her, especially after the whole egg incident where she spills it all over her head. He really tries to support her and comfort her. So we're going to mention that he's mean to Ramona at first by taking the eraser. And he's in the same grade as Ramona, and he's a very confident person. He's very confident in himself and who he is. Okay, there is Howie Kemp and Danny the Yard Ape. If you want to pause it here to catch up on these, you may do that. Okay, moving on to Mrs. Whaley. So Mrs. Whaley is, the most important thing is that she's Ramona's third grade teacher. She does have a sense of humor. That means she can be a little bit funny. And Ramona does mention that she's not strict or fussy. She says she's not fussy, not like a complainer. Later on, she gets a little bit frustrated with Mrs. Whaley because of her overhearing her in the office calling her a nuisance. But overall, she does believe that she is not strict or fussy. There we go. So I did use quotes around fussy because remember when someone says something and it's a direct quote of what they said, so Ramona directly said fussy, use that word, then we use quotations. Okay, moving on to our last one, Bruce. So he goes to nursery school with Willa Jean, and we know that he's the one that she says that does not wee-wee in the sandbox. So that does mean that there probably is one that does. And he also lets Willa Jean boss him around. Those are our main points for Bruce. Okay, there's Bruce. Now I know Bruce's was a little bit longer, so if you ran out of room, he is the bottom one, so you could just add some lines at the bottom. Okay, make sure that you caught up with Mrs. Whaley and Bruce. You can take a little pause here to catch up. Okay, so those are our last four. We did Howie Kemp, we did Danny the Yard Ape, we did Mrs. Whaley, and we did Bruce. So you should be done with all of your character charts.